mess. Oh, it already is. Alrighty.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. So this is a joint meeting of the Mason Development Committee and the Finance Committee on an issue referred to us by Vice President and City Councilor Tracy Whitfield regarding discussions with the Springfield DPW and the Big E. And I am Catering Walsh, Chair of the committee, and if everybody else would like to introduce themselves for the record, we'll go to my right.
Cliff Hedges.
Good afternoon.
Okay.
Do you want to just tell us who you are, Cliff?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Cliff Hedges, I'm the Director of Public Safety and Security and about 15 other jobs here at the Eastern States. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Dennis.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Dennis King. I'm the president of King Gray Coach Lines. We are the transportation and shuttle service for the Big E.
All right. Thank you. We know who you are, Chris, but just for introduction purposes.
For the
Sure.
record,
Chris Signoli, DPW Director, City of Springfield.
Tracy.
Tracy Whitfield, Vice President of the Springfield City Council. Springfield City Council.
And we are joined by City Councilor Gomercindo Gomez. And I believe Victor Tavilla was with us. Are you still there, Victor? Maybe he's.
I think he's connected to audio or something.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess the best way to do this is to, who is speaking first for the Big E, to put your proposal together. And then we will get comments from our DPW Director, Chris Signoli. So which one of you guys is going to start the ball rolling?
I guess that would be me, ma'am. Thank you very much for everybody's time today. So in 2019, just to back it up a little bit, we were searching for ways to supplement or try to be proactive with traffic movement on for the Eastern States and the Big E during the fair, which affects numerous arteries in both West Springfield and surrounding communities, specifically Springfield as well. One of the areas that we thought in discussion with Mr. King was the possibility of a shortcut for buses on the weekends only through M Street, which would bring them off of Route 5 across M Street, which is a short distance. I'm not sure what the distance is actually, Chris, but he could tell you. And they would exit out onto Circuit Avenue into the back roads and go directly to our transportation center, never really hitting Memorial Drive, which Memorial Avenue, excuse me, which everyone knows is a mess during the fair, especially during the weekends, where we average about 120,000 people each Saturday and Sunday through the 17 days of the fair. We talked. I met with Chris.
Did you say 120,000 people?
Yeah, per day during those 2 weekends.
Okay.
Those are the busiest times of the fair, and the middle weekends probably the biggest one. And I fully anticipate following other fairs. I'm on the security committee for the International Association of Fair and Administration, where we all the other fairs that have reopened since the COVID release has been the attendance has been up in every one of them. I anticipate we'll break our 1.6 million attendance record this year, knock on wood, and everybody will have a good time. But that causes a lot of problems with traffic and moving people, and the buses are a great help. Mr. King and his bus lines help us a lot, and we're trying to find an easier way for them to get in to try to get more vehicles off the road, especially the big buses and stuff like that, by utilizing the M Street annex and going through the back way. We are only, like I said, only looking for it during the weekends after operating hours of the landfill. One of the things that we talked about when we met with Chris back in 19 was we would provide security at the entrance gate, either a police detail or one of our own. And we would repair the fence at the Circuit Avenue exit which is in pretty bad shape unless Chris has fixed it since then. We would do that. We actually, Mr. Cassidy wrote a letter to Kathleen Breck with a tie and bond report where she had reached out to Mass DEP to seek their approval about going forward with the proposal, which they agreed with. There's an additional cost to the Big E of about $9,000 to do all this. But we think in the overall scheme of things, it's beneficial for us and everybody involved. I think it's a win-win for everybody. Some of the other things that I think are important is, in talking with the Chamber of Commerce in Springfield, is the financial benefits to your community, specifically like in the hotel and motel business, where the Big E during the weeks of 17 days of the Big E, actually 20 days thereabouts, we probably fill approximately 50% of the hotels in the Springfield area. Now, just quickly, I'll go over some rates. In 2015, it was a 66% increase in hotels. 2016, it was 70%. 2018, 73. 2020, 44%. And an average cost to all the hotels in the area is $95 during the fair, and it was $30 during 2020. So there's a pretty big impact financially to the surrounding area, Springfield, West Springfield, that handles the majority of the hotels during the fair. And I guess, the thing that I tried to make a pitch with in the beginning, and I don't know what happened, but is that, I'd like to think that the Eastern States is trying to reach out to continue to be good neighbors with the city of Springfield. We offer our grounds on numerous occasions to Springfield. One of the biggest ones was when MGM was doing a lot of stuff back in 2018. We allowed both not only our property but our personnel to assist them. So I just kind of see this as a win-win for both communities, and the start of a good friendship and neighborhood connection with both towns. Yeah, I'm open for any questions now.
Thank you for that. And we are joined by City Councilor Jesse Letterman, who's actually a member of the Maintenance and Development, a voting member of the Maintenance and Development Committee. Before I turn it over, Councilor Whitfield, did you want to add any comments, because you're the catalyst for the meeting?
Nope, I just wanted to say hopefully we can come together to, figure out some type of agreement to help both communities, because the traffic is horrendous during that time, coming in from Connecticut and all angles through West Springfield. And that's it. And I just wanted to ask one question about what's the operating hours on the weekend of Bondi's Island?
We are open till 3 p.m.
Yeah, okay.
Chris, before I turn it over to you, Mr. King, did you want to add anything? And we're also joined by Councilor Davila.
And Morgan Joubert, I don't know who that is.
Madam Chair, I have a quick question, if I may.
I want this gentleman to speak about the buses first, and then okay.
So just we're trying to work with everybody here, trying to keep the traffic flowing as easily as possible. I've had some experience sitting in that traffic and with patrons, and nobody's happy sitting in that traffic, especially when you have 50 people and they all want to go have a good time at the fair. We're trying whatever we can to avoid that Memorial Drive Avenue, and this is something that we've come up with a few years ago, and we're just working on trying to make this happen.
Okay. Councilor Davila, is your question for Chris Signoli, because he's speaking next?
I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, I could address it to Chris.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, guys. Chris, good afternoon. I just had a quick question. I cannot figure out where the street you guys are talking about is. What exactly is the street?
There isn't a street. What it is that when you're on Route 5, there is an exit. I don't have authority on this to be able to put up a map. to do screen sharing. I have a map. If you are on Route 5 and you are driving northbound, the landfill is on your left. The
Right.
sewage treatment plant is on your right. There is an exit ramp that is in both directions right at that location that gets you into the landfill.
Okay, and so the plan is to get traffic through that street. Is that going to be regular traffic or just buses?
It would just be buses, sir.
It would just be buses. Okay, you might have said this at the beginning. I inadvertently kicked myself out of the meeting. Just buses. And I believe you say you're gonna do repairs on the street, right? That will be on a yearly basis?
Yeah, so if you drive back in the back there on Circuit Avenue, there's a gate that's attached to the exit of the landfill, and it's in pretty, it was, unless, like I said, unless Chris has fixed it, pretty bad disarray. And we were willing at the Eastern States to completely redo it, you know, put some flowers around it, try to beautify it,
Right.
but at our cost. So,
Okay. But that will be in the yearly, because we'll keep all the repairs.
excuse me.
Is that will be on a yearly basis? You will keep all the repairs, so that street on a yearly basis?
Absolutely.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, Chris,
Madam Chair,
yes,
can you can Focus Springfield give Chris screen share abilities?
I don't think it's Focus Springfield. I think it's Focus Susan, and I'm not sure.
Is Susan on?
I'm not sure if Susan has the capabilities to screen share. Susan, do you?
I am on. I do not know. I'm trying to figure that out.
Okay,
as
if you hover,
speak.
Susan, if you hover at the bottom and you see where there's a screen share screen button right next to it, it should give you, if you click on it, it'll say share with multiple users or something like that. And then you just click that and then you can give Chris the ability.
All right, I did.
Okay, I got it.
Chris, you got it. Okay.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Cooperation.
Thank you.
Yeah. The next Bobby Arietti. Can everybody see this, the map?
Yes,
Okay, Route
very
5,
helpful.
Route 5 is up here. There is an exit ramp that is in both directions that if you're going northbound, it loops you down and you go underneath. If you are coming southbound, you come off and you are right here. I just trying to zoom in a little bit. There is, in this area right here, this is right now the only public aspect of the landfill. Residents can come in and drop stuff off. There is a gatehouse that's here. We have a trailer. And then there is an access road that runs up to a point here. This access road is 30-something feet wide or so here. And then it allows you to get up to the two areas on top of the landfill. Moving forward from here, and that is just gravel. There is some roadway millings and gravel. As you move forward here, it is about 18 feet wide that runs through to a point around here. And Cliff was talking about a gate that is back in this area right here. The information that when it was sent to me, we actually had a brief discussion on this last year and then had one this year. I am 100% against doing this for a lot of different reasons. Number one, this fall, we have 3 major construction projects going on that we'll be working through weekends. There is a capping project that is on cell 1. There is a capping and compost work going on cell 2. And then along this entire roadway is a water main project that is going on that post-fire, Covanta is now required to get a water line up to the top of the landfill where the compost is. So that work will be going on. The cell work is going on now. The water main project will be starting sometime in the middle of August. And most of that work with regard to the water main is going to be 24/7 because we can't have that road dug up during the day. Our vehicles, our yard waste vehicles travel up this backside and go up here. All of the incinerator work that is in this area here, the trucks come back, drive on this road, drive up here and deposit materials up on cell 1 and some periods on cell 2, depending upon what is going on for a particular day over there. We have in the fall, we have the landfill open till 3 p.m. So that residents who are working during the week can drop off yard waste in this area right here. When we had the fire there last fall, one of the major items that we are somewhat dealing with, but Covanta is dealing with, was the use of unauthorized people on the landfill at any one particular time. What was happening is vehicles that were non-Covanta, non-City of Springfield were getting access to different parts of the landfill. So one of the things that came out of DEP following that is the only way that third-party uses would be done is that there needs to be a permit modification to the site. A couple years ago, we were starting to work on that. The request as it came through 2 years ago was based upon the traffic that was happening because of the bridge work between Agawam and West Springfield. This would have to be a major permit modification for us to allow this. Would not be a simple letter. There would need to be, number one, from my perspective, if any of you have never been out there, I'm happy to show you what it looks like. I think it would be, my opinion, it is not the place for having people drive through vehicles back and forth. It is unlit. It is in bad shape. We fill potholes on a daily basis out there, and especially with the rain that we've had. There are drainage swales along both sides of this road, which have washed out. So we are out there doing work now. So from the City of Springfield standpoint, the DPW, we've been, I am 100% against this at this point. It does not provide me any benefit, and we will have to stop residents from getting in there on the weekends as well. So for 3 weekends in September and October, residents wouldn't have the ability to get to the landfill. That would also mean that Covanta working at their facility would not have access to the landfill. So there's a whole host of things there that I have major concerns about at the landfill. And post-fire, the regulations that we're dealing with DEP have become even stricter. And we just received a permit modification based upon what happened with the fire up there and composting, et cetera. So that's the city's stance at this point. And I know over the past couple of weeks, I've tried to send some memos around to everybody, letting everybody know what our stance is. But, the one thing I will say, this is far from being a road. This is something that's used for landfill purposes. It's gravel. It is in okay shape. If this was a city road, this would be one of those cities' private ways that we would be getting screamed at every day about. So that's where the other item is in the back corner here where the gate is. There has been a bunch of modifications that have occurred with underground utilities, some water, and the venting system. Around both of these landfills, there are all sorts of gas, methane vents that we had to do a project to put a bunch of material in on this corner as well. So there's been some modifications of materials at that location as well. So that's the stance that the City of Springfield has had. And so I'd like to turn it back over to anybody who has questions.
And so you can remove the screen share. Okay, thank you. I'd like to open it up to other members of the committee who have some comments. Jesse, you haven't spoken yet on the issue.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I apologize. I was about 5 minutes late coming in, so I've sort of picked up the gist of what the proposal is, but can somebody explain to me exactly? I understand Big E wants to use this access road. What do they want to use it for?
So, how are you, sir?
I'm
We're
good.
looking
Sorry
to-
for being late.
Oh, that's okay. Hey, everybody's busy. I understand. I appreciate it.
And would you reintroduce yourself to Councilor Letterman so he'll know who he's talking to?
Yes, ma'am. Jesse, my name's Cliff Hedges. I'm the Director of Public Safety and Security for the Eastern States. So to answer your question, what we're looking to do is during the weekends only, during the 3 weeks of the fair, is utilize what access road, wherever you want to call it, M Street. I mean, there's a sign that says M Street on Route 5 for buses only to pick up people from like Connecticut, park and rides and other locations, and drive them through that area to stay off the main roads, and then bring them through the back part of Circuit Ave into our transportation center. So they would never even be a Memorial or the Rotary or any of those things. That's really kind of it all in a lump thing. Is just, you know,
That's what I picked up. How many buses a year do you would anticipate?
I'll let Mr. King answer that question.
Good afternoon. So we're running a park and ride shuttle from the Connecticut Mall, Enfield Mall. We're running a shuttle service for Amtrak. We're running a shuttle service for MGM. And we're doing a hotel shuttle for West Springfield, the West Springfield hotels. So we're on any given day, on Saturdays and Sundays, there's going to be 6 buses doing shuttle work for the Big E, bringing people in. And we start at, I believe, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, and we run till the fair closes.
Chris, what's the structural integrity of that road? I mean, I've been into the mulching area and whatnot, but I mean, what can that road handle?
It's millings. That the road is just built up millings. And I mean, structurally, it's okay because we drive all of our trash trucks, and especially our yard waste trucks, have to drive up to the top of the landfill. So from a structural standpoint, it's okay, but it's essentially roadway millings. That's what the road is.
All right, thank you.
Councilor Whitfield?
So I have a comment first, Chris, because you said the streets would have to be closed to residents for the 3 weekends, but it was my understanding that they were asking to use it after the 3 o'clock time frame, that residents wouldn't normally go there anymore. So why would it have to close to the employees of Covanta and to the residents?
Well, no, the request that was made previous was to use it Saturdays and Sundays.
Yeah, but just right now, when Cliff presented, he said after it closed at 3.
Well, if it's after 3, then, well, I'm not going to say that I don't have a problem with it. I still have a major problem with it. But we have residents and we have people there that will be there until 3 o'clock.
Okay.
And then it's open. It's usually open until noon. Once we get to the fall, we open it longer on the weekends so that people have more opportunity to drop stuff off.
Okay. And how long are the construction projects that are going on now?
The 2 at the top of the landfill will go into next year. The water main needs to be completed before winter season starts this year.
So next year, early spring, next year, summer for the other
Next year, we're constantly doing new capping projects. As we close certain areas of the landfill, we then have to do formal capping of areas. So they are in one now. We're doing a modified one, and then there is work that will happen associated with the compost area as well. But the water main project is the main one that will be occurring this fall.
And since it's not well lit, have you done a light study or even consider putting more lights out there? I mean, I think that could be dangerous for anyone, even for Springfield workers and residents and Covanta workers.
Yeah, there are, as you move on that access roadway out towards the back gate, there are a series of poles that have some lights on them. They are the old style roadway lights that, you know, simply because the landfill is not open during any period of time when it's dark, we don't get into lighting it or any of that area.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Counselor Gomez, do you have any thoughts on this? You usually have some words of wisdom for us.
Well, what bothers me with this is if these people are mandated to take that route by the police department, then who becomes responsible for these cars and individuals in an incident that happens there? Because we are directing them. They're not choosing to go into it. We are, or I imagine that we are going to be directing them to take this route. That makes us liable.
Can I
Clifford,
clarify,
Chris?
ma'am?
Yep.
So, Counselor, this is just for buses only, not vehicle traffic that we're requesting. So I think that limits it. You know, we have insurance through Mr. King's company. We have insurance at the Eastern States. You know, the police that are running the detail there are to keep other vehicles out of there. And I just want to clarify with Chris. I mean, if you can, I know in the past we've talked about the weekends. Is it both Saturday and Sunday, Chris, that you're open until 3 o'clock?
Just Saturday.
Just Saturday, that's what I thought, okay. So we're actually looking for both days. The other thing that I didn't bring up that we talked about in 2019, and Chris is correct, that the bridge in Agawam was under construction, which got done a whole year early, which is nice. But starting this year, they have a new federal grant to do a bike lane through Memorial Avenue, and it's going to cut down 4 lanes of traffic to 2 lanes of traffic. So you think Memorial Avenue is bad now, it's going to be even worse when that's completed. Thank you.
Well, you know, I would like to think that Springfield could be a good neighbor, and I am, and it is a short period of time. But is there, I guess the question is, are there any circumstances, and I thought someone said earlier this was approved, our attorney said this did have some kind of approval. Are there any circumstances on which, Chris, you think this could be done, or is there an alternate route, or is this the only way that Eastern States and the bus company think they can alleviate traffic?
Well, I'll leave it up to them with regard to alleviating traffic. Let me just shut something off here. I'm getting noises. But from the city's perspective, you know, it's not set up as a roadway to be used by third-party people. It is not set up as a facility to be used for third-party people. And given what we had with the fire up on the landfill last year, you know, entities were getting their hands slapped by DEP for allowing third-party people up there without proper permit notifications. And, you know, the conversations I've had with DEP and with Covanta on this, that it is not under any circumstances advantageous to the city of Springfield and our landfill to allow something to allow that the use that's going to happen there.
Okay, I see Councilor Davila has his hand raised. And then Councilor Letterman and Councilor Whitfield again.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Chris, quick question, just to be clear. It is the DPW/city's stand that this is not inappropriate use of the street. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, with regards to the fire that you talked about last fall. I know it took a lot of resources. In fact, it took many local communities to help us keeping that fire under control. Do you see any scenario if this was allowed in which there could be increase of fire danger on that area?
With regard to fire, no, I don't see that. The issue that we're dealing with right now is because at the top of the landfill that there is no water at the top of the landfill, and over the past 4 or 5 years, there have been 2 or 3 small fires with the compost piles. The one that happened last year was a small compost fire, but it ended up catching all of the logs and brush that was at the top. So it ended up turning into a bigger fire. The issue that we were running into post-fire was just the analysis of too many third-party people being on the landfill that are not part of a permitted activity. So that was kind of the issue. The fire side of it, no. Are we creating a hazard because of the fire? No, we're not. Are we creating a hazard simply by allowing people to use this? No, we're not creating an increased fire hazard because of that.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam.
Councilor Letterman?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just had a question. I know when we did the MGM opening, there were some buses that ran from the Big E Fairgrounds over to MGM during the height of the opening. I never rode on one of them, but I remember talking with somebody who told me that they went around a back way. What route was that? Does anybody know?
I don't.
Mr.
Yeah.
Dennis, Mr.
Yeah.
Dennis knows.
Yeah, we didn't go a back route. We had the MGM patrons were parking in the back lot 9 at the Big E, and we had an express lane down Memorial Drive, around the Rotary, over the bridge, and right to MGM. And we ran 20 buses for the city of Springfield and MGM for that whole weekend. It was supposed to be one day. It ended up being all weekend, 24/7. We ran 20 buses for.
So you created an express lane, essentially.
Well, I didn't, but the city
did.
West Springfield and Springfield did. There was an express lane. There was cops, police officers all up and down over the highway around the Rotary, and we had direct service right in and out.
Perhaps that could be an option. Utilizing the existing.
Well, I'm open to just about anything, to be honest.
I get it. Okay, thank you.
Councilor Whitfield?
I think that I just wanted to make a comment that I like the good neighbor attitude that Councilor Walsh has. I think that during the time when Springfield was in need, when MGM was opening, West Springfield opened their doors to the city of Springfield and allowed MGM patrons to park there, and also offered shuttle services to get them to and from major business in the city of Springfield. And I think that if we could find a creative way to work together to make some type of route work, that's what we should do. Even if the landfill is not the option, we should still have conversations, and maybe nothing can be done this year, but we should have these conversations so something can be done next year. I don't like the position as this is the stance we're taking, because not all of Springfield is taking that stance, and maybe the administration is, but I think that if we want folks to be good neighbors with us, we have to try to do our best to do the same. And like I said, I'm not sure if the landfill is the option, but we should keep this communication going and ensure that something happens going forward. Maybe not this year, like I said, but even if we can do something this year, we should give it our best effort. We are right across the bridge from each other, and we should not be divided, and we should work together, because it's not for us. It's for the residents of Springfield having to get back and forth to work. And I work in West Springfield now, so I know that's going to be a nightmare. It's for the residents of West Springfield. It's for all the visitors that's coming here to improve our economic development. We should not have them waiting on the bus for 45 minutes to an hour to get to a location that they want to spend the day at. because the economic development is helping all of us when Biggie brings this amount of people to the city of West Springfield, because they definitely trickle over into Springfield, especially for our hotels, our entertainment, our restaurants, and our museums and other things. And so I think if we have a way to make something work, that we should give it our best effort.
Thank you, Councilor Whitfield. And I agree with you. Councilor Gomez.
I agree with the counselor that we should make every effort, but reminding ourselves that we need to pick whatever solution we find to this, that is going to be safe for the city and the residents, and that is a viable way. What we're talking around here right now, I would vote against that in a heartbeat. That's a dirt road. What we're talking about, and a lot of things can happen there. And yes, we need a way. Yes, we need to work with this, but let's pick the right solution. And this is not it.
Thank you, Councilor Gomez. Council Davila. Victor, your hand is raised. Did you want to speak?
That's correct. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I hear you. I just have a quick question, if I may.
Sure, go ahead.
If you hear me, Kate. For the representative of the Big E, just out of curiosity, to your knowledge, has the town of West Springfield explored the creation of a new road in West Springfield side that will be comparable to what we have in terms?
So we've met with the mayor and the DPW over here back in 19. There is another section of Circuit Road that has basically been destroyed over the years, back by where the Kushner property is. So we go by that, and we have to go through some of the other businesses to get through. That probably is the only spot that I'm aware of. But I'm open to other options as well. I mean, the M Street landfill, just at the time, and I still think it is probably the most viable one. I understand the concerns from Councilman Gomez about safety, but I like to think that we, the Eastern states, and Mr. King, reputation on safety is such that we would take every precaution to make sure that everybody arrives to the grounds and leaves the ground safely. So, but I understand your concerns there. I do. So, I mean, those things in mind, we are going to do our part to make sure it happens, because I don't want to be on the news like last night watching Channel 22 and seeing everybody talking about the traffic at the Six Flags.
Right.
How bad that was.
I understand, and I agree that this is a symbiotic relationship, because we also do benefit from the economic impact that the Wiki has in the region, and they have been good partners to us. So anything that we can do to pay the favor back, it would be appropriate. However, I do also share concerns with the use of that road as it is, and I understand what your point or what you have explained to us. But can you tell me why you think, if there is potentially another road within West Springfield jurisdiction that could be rehabbed or even created, that you still think the current proposal is the most viable one?
So I haven't only experienced this for one fair myself, and then, in my past career being over here quite often, doing things, like everybody else, sir, in 2020 with the COVID, the Big E took a $9 million financial hit. So to, I think, turn around in 2021 and rebuild a road with the town of West Springfield, I think is an ask that is just almost impossible to do at this time. You know, some of my concerns is like I mentioned earlier, and I think you were on, is that West Springfield is moving forward on even making Memorial Avenue even smaller, which is going to be even a bigger problem. So I don't know of a road in West Springfield that's not being used during the fair that we can even consider doing anything with because of parking, traffic on and off all the arteries around the fairgrounds. I mean, West Springfield, if you're a resident here, you probably hate the Big E because it's just, you can't even move. So we're trying to come up with different ideas, be creative, you know, thus the bus idea to help people with that. But, you know, like I anticipate, like I mentioned early on, that the crowds are probably going to be bigger this year than they've ever been. So what can we do to collectively, you know, between the Big E, West Springfield and the surrounding communities, Agawam included, to help make it flow as best that we can? I mean, yeah, so that's really the crust of all this. I mean, I don't know of any place in the town of West Springfield that would even handle traffic like that because Memorial Avenue is what it is, as you already can see.
Thank you. Councilor Gomez, your hand's up.
Already?
Yeah,
I have nothing to add.
okay. Councilor Whitfield, did you want to add anything?
No, I did like Councilor Letterman's suggestion on
Yeah.
maybe looking at the express lane and seeing if that's a viable alternative, like was done in the past. But I would really like it if the three of you or whoever else needs to be involved can talk and come up with something that will help both communities be successful during the Big E.
Chris, representing DPW, this is not a new idea, correct? Has this been floated
No,
before?
this started back in 2019.
Oh, okay, 2019, okay.
Yeah.
So I think my sense is, and from this meeting is, we all want to see, we all know what the traffic is like, but I think we all would like to see if there's some other alternative to helping them out. And I don't know if we've explored other options. And what's a timeline? I mean, do you need to, because the biggie really, I mean, it's August, it's right down the road. I mean, how much time is needed to put some kind of a plan like this in place?
Well, I think on our end, it's just a matter of getting the support from the city of Springfield, working with Chris to do what we got to do to help him be happy with the things that he needs done, and you know, fixing things, additions, you know, coming up with the time frame and traffic pattern through the grounds. I mean, I think we're ready to move forward, but I mean, we're just kind of, you know, it's been a 3-year discussion that really has not really progressed. So, I mean, I appreciate your guys' time. I really do. And I'm trying to make something work for the benefit of both of us. So I think we're ready. But if this is an issue that Springfield's not going to pursue, then that's something I'll have to deal with, and we'll find something else. I think, you know, this speed lane you're talking about, I think worked for MGM, but MGM didn't have 120,000 people going across Memorial Avenue either. So I don't see how that works.
Well, Chris, you put forward some, you know, real objections and obstacles. It doesn't sound to me like it would even be a very attractive way to go to the Big E, but it's my sense that this committee and the councilors on it are hopeful that there's another way to do this. And what would the next step be to accomplish that?
Well, from my perspective, number one, if this were to move forward, which I've said I'm against, but if it did, it would be a major permit modification through DEP.
And is that fine? What's the time
Right
frame?
now, for this year, absolutely not. When we were looking at it in 2019, the request at that time that was made, it was made under a 1-year, possibly a 2-year request because of the construction related to the bridge. So if this is something that's being done on a one-year basis, that's one thing, but if it's being done anytime in the future, it needs to be a DEP permit modification. And not only would the city of Springfield have to be involved, but Covanta would need to be involved and DEP would need to be involved. Covanta manages the landfill for us under an agreement.
Okay. What are the financial consequences to something like this?
Financial consequences to us is we need to have, I mean, it's basically minimal. We need to have somebody there, but other than that, there really isn't any financial impact to the city at all.
Okay, there's no cost for applying for the permit or any of those kind of issues?
Well, there's a cost associated with that.
Yeah,
And it would have to be made on behalf of either the city, but those, I mean, you're talking hundreds of dollars type of thing, not, tens of thousands. So I don't consider that to be a financial hardship.
okay. Well, I don't know if anyone else has anything to add to the discussion we're having today. As I can see, we're at,
Almost at one.
I don't want to say loggerheads, but I don't think we can reach a conclusion. I think I would like to have our committee meet again on this, and in the meantime, see if there's any solution that comes up.
So
Councilor
I just
Whitfield?
wanted to ask if we are open to continuing the discussion to see what the alternatives are.
I think so, because even if we can't do it this year, I mean,
Yeah.
the Big E's not going anywhere, correct? So, I mean, it's going to be an issue that comes up again.
And Chris, can that M Street be paved or it can never be paved? Like what type of street is that? I don't know.
No, it's basically just a dirt road that allows access for us to circle around the landfill on both cells and allows for vehicle access on the back. DEP does not want it paved, simply to control stormwater up there. Nothing's paved up there. We have a mat that is at the top of the landfill that is pervious, semi-pervious, where they're working just so that they can we're not dealing in mud all the time. But that, the roadway would never be paved.
Okay. Do you think you can look at other ways or other solutions that we could work together to make, this successful, to make this collaboration successful? Is there anything?
The only thing that I think you can possibly do, and because there's a couple issues, is immediately north of our property line is Western Mass Electric, now Eversource. They have property there as well. That our road is basically the northern property line of the landfill.
So
that I
is
don't
that
know
a
if
road though, or what? I mean,
Excuse me, I'm
is
sorry.
that a
Tracy?
road?
No, there's nothing there right now. And if I could just bring it up again, their property line kind of goes on an angle and basically mirrors, and you can see their solar farm is up here. So on the north side of us is Western Mass Electric. They had I call it a dirt road, but it was just kind of a way to get around their site on there. So the only problem there the area immediately north of us is a closed landfill. And everything that's immediately around our landfill or that roadway is a closed landfill as well. So there's all the DEP and environmental issues that you have associated with that. The other thing too, this underpass here, last week with the rain, wasn't open. It was filled, it was about 2.5 feet filled with water for about 3 days with the rain that we had. So we've had to do some modification work under there as well. So, and the other thing, just to let you know, the incinerator that's right here is open till 5 p.m. I believe 5 p.m. on Saturday. So there is traffic going to and from the incinerator from north and south from any other entities that service it. I have no idea about what numbers you're talking about, whether it's 5 trucks or 50, but I know that the incinerator is open for drop off. When we have a holiday, it is open for us till 5 PM. So I know it is open for other vehicles as well. So there is some traffic stuff going on there. But again, that's something Covanta and just to let you know too, Covanta does not own and operate the burn plant anymore. That is Community Eco Power. That was a subsidy of Covanta. They operate that incinerator now. And like I said, I'm just not familiar with how much traffic they get on a Saturday. I don't think they're open Sundays, but I know that there is definitely traffic there on Saturdays. Over
So
and
you said
above.
the only thing that you could think of was the line that Eversource owns. I don't know what that means, because you said there's a line, but then there's this, that, and that obstacle. So I don't know how that's a solution.
They used to have a little access road that went around their landfill, and they closed the landfill. I do not know what the status of that, of what their access road is. We don't get involved with them on any of the stuff that's there.
Okay. Thank you.
And the only other thing, let me see if I get lucky here. That's the back gate right now, and faintly right here was, you can kind of see a round thing. I don't know if I can, you can kind of see some equipment that's there.
Is your pointer thing going? Because I don't see it.
Let me see if I can get this going. Yeah. Well, hold on. Can you see that now?
I don't see a pointer. I can see the site, but I don't see a pointer.
Can you see, this is just a screen view of the back gate that Cliff was talking about. Can you see that now?
I see the back gate area that you were talking about.
That's the back gate that Cliff was talking about. And there's the electric lines that go around the landfill. And a couple of them have a light that comes off of it. But right in this corner right here is all of our venting equipment. You can kind of see a vent over here as well. So we have all the venting equipment that is underground, running back and forth under there as well on that back gate. But this is the back road that Cliff was talking about before. That's the entrance, and the vehicles would then go this way down Agawam Ave to their back entrance. And, obviously you can see the landfill that's there. So just wanted to, let me get out of that. Just wanted to show that to everybody.
Right. Well, if no one else has any comments, I think I will follow up with Councilor Whitfield's suggestion that we continue discussing this particular situation with the hope that there's something that can be worked out. Doesn't sound like it can be worked out this year, but in the hope that it be worked out in the future for this particular issue. I want to thank everybody for joining me today, and I'm sure among us and the Maintenance and Development Committee, we will have another meeting on this. So,
but should we? Are you guys going to reach out to each other to set up a meeting? Should I do it? Like, how do we move it forward? Because we don't want to come back to another meeting with the same level of information we already have. Like, we want to hear that some conversations, some discussions happen, and then we have something happening, some type of agreement, or at least.
Well, I think if the parties that are here today can come up with another solution or suggestion through DPW, the Eastern States, and the bus company, then Maintenance and Development could certainly have another discussion on it. But I think we have to hear back from those three principals.
My point is just getting some agreement that they will meet, Councilor Walsh.
Yeah,
I'm not hearing that, so I'm just trying to see if that can happen.
Well, let me start with Chris, then, just so we'll know and be on the record. Would it be fair to say that if there's a different solution, you'd be prepared to look at it to see if it would work?
Yeah, and like I said, there's other entities that need to be involved.
Right, and you can let us know that. And
yep.
representing, and Cliff representing Eastern States, there's another solution, you'd be willing to come forward and discuss it?
Absolutely, ma'am. And I'm, you know, I'll ask Chris straight up. I mean, if you know other solutions, and I mean, I know Springfield pretty good, but if you know someplace else that will help us out getting cars around here, I'd be all ears. So I appreciate everybody's time today. Thank you.
We'll look into what we can. Absolutely.
I like that. Mr. King? From the buses?
Yes, no, yeah, so we would definitely open to meeting again, and whatever solution we can come up with would be great.
Okay, all righty. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us today, and thank you, Susan, for running the meeting.
Thank you for running the meeting.
And we look forward to our next joint discussion.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
Have
ma'am.
a great day.